We get to the anniversary of Gilets Jaunes in France, there are uprisings in Iran and Iraq, yet the mainstream media is absolutely silent. Now, we know that we talk a lot about domestic politics on this channel, Brexit, the election and everything else, but there are some issues across the world that affects us in the United Kingdom, and we want to focus on the mainstream media and their role, because for example, last weekend we had the anniversary of Gilets Jaunes in France. They've been protesting and campaigning every week and every day for the past year or so, and yet nothing on the BBC or Sky News, no coverage, no reporting about what's going on there. The same applies to Iraq. They started the movement a few weeks ago. Nothing's been mentioned. They are pick and choosing what they want you to know. So we know a lot about Hong Kong. There are protests going around there. BBC, Sky, everyone's talking about that. But, you know, it's selective. They want you to know what they want you to know rather than you deciding. And that's the problem in the mainstream media and their agenda. Now, obviously, we have to stand alongside any movement that's fighting for freedom and democracy. That includes Hong Kong, Iraq, Iran, everywhere else. But the issue is the mainstream media's agenda and how they decide to run the programs. Now, let's talk about Iran. No one knows what's happening out there because no one's talking about it. So there's an uprising right now, and it's the first week. Over the past week, we've had every day across the cities in Iran protests. Then ordinary people have decided to rise up against their socialist Islamic regime. Now, 40 years ago, we had a revolution there. They got rid of the constitutional monarchy and the last Shah of Iran, where the country was under a free market system. They had freedom. It was a liberal system, and they decided to replace it with an Islamic socialist regime, with a promise to give everyone free petrol and free bus passes and free electricity. And they started with subsidizing everything and with creating a welfare state. And now look at it. Look at the situation. The country is bankrupt. People have no freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom to do whatever you want to do, freedom to what you want to wear. You don't have a right. Women don't have a right. And this is the country that they have created. And over the last 40 years, every 10 years or so, there's always a movement that starts to fight for these rights and for change. But usually those movements have always been led by the middle classes and the young people. But this time, because of the rise in petrol prices and the inflation, it's everyone. It's the working classes. It's the ones that used to back the current regime. They've decided to come out. And again, we're not hearing anything about this from the media, so I've decided to use this channel to raise awareness, because as you know, I'm Persian. I was born in Iran, and I came here as a kid with my family who had to escape that country, and so obviously this country, the UK, gave us a fresh start, and we embraced the British values, and but we want freedom for everyone, for all people on this planet, including people in Iran and the Persians. So we're going to talk about this. Let's have a look at a couple of clips to see what's actually going on there. Yes, this time it's different. This time people aren't going home. Usually they protest for a couple of days and a few of them get killed and they run away. This time it's different. They have killed over 200 people over the last few days, including one of my childhood friends from school. And I also have other people I know, which I can't obviously name for obvious reasons, who live in Iran, and they are in danger. But we have to make sure that the international community actually do something about this, because what Iran have decided to do is, because the government control the internet, something that Jeremy Corbyn wants to do, they have decided to shut down the internet for the whole country. All communication networks are currently down. No phone lines, no internet. The whole country is now isolated, and this is the country that is the friend of the Labour Party. is a friend of Jeremy Corbyn and his friends. This is why over the past few days we haven't heard anything from Jeremy Corbyn. Nothing. Is he going to condemn what's happening in there? Probably not. He might come out and say, "Oh, I want peace for everyone in the world," and he's probably going to say there are good people on both sides. It's one of those sort of speeches. So that's the situation with the internet in Iran. Everything's now blocked. We don't know what's going on there since 2 days ago. Well, actually yesterday. But there's a lot of messages of support going to Iran. For example, this Israeli citizen who decided to send this video to Iran.
من از اسرائیل برای مردم ایران دعا میکنم. ما دوستتون داریم. شما باید آزاد باشید.
Now, what this regime have done over the past 40 years is a number of things. Obviously, all democracy and freedom is all gone. But they've also decided to, by pushing religion as part of the state instead of having a secular government, they've pushed people away from religion. And now people are hungry for a secular, liberal government and a regime. They are now going around and burning religious schools that is state-owned. They are burning the symbol of God and Allah on the Iranian flag, which wasn't there 40 years ago, but they added it. They are also bringing down the statues of the supreme leader across the city, and they're also burning banks literally in every city in Iran. All the banks, because obviously they're mostly state-owned, they are being burned. Now, the latest news we've had is that the government have decided to adopt a direct shooting and targeting policy when it comes to their own citizens and protesters. This is what's happening. Now, the funny thing about all this situation is that, as you know, China, Iran and Russia are a triangle of alliance. These are the countries that intervene in various continents and countries from North Africa to the Middle East because they think they should run the world. And Russia is actually one of the worst ones, because Russia, who want to basically keep interfering in various countries because even though it's got nothing to do with them, and for various reasons, and they use the excuse of the West. And yes, the West are also to be blamed for a lot of things that's been happening in the Middle East over the past century. We know that. This is not a defense of the Western foreign policy. But right now we have the triangle of Russia, Iran and China. And now Putin and Russia are going around saying the protesters in Iran, who I know personally, he says that, they are foreign intelligence and they are foreign paid, and it's all conspiracy and it's not ordinary people in Iran. Yeah, sure. I don't think anyone in Iran is going to believe you, but fine. They are protecting this triangle of evil with all power and everything they have. And the media, again, is not saying anything about this. Now, the only difference between this movement compared to the last few we had in Iran is that previously they didn't have a leader to get behind. And this has also been one of the problems for other countries, whether it was Libya or even Syria or Iraq. Syria failed anyway. Is that when a nation rises, you need to have someone in those countries, in those cultures, you need to have a leader. Otherwise, even if you do succeed with your revolution and the regime change, then there's going to be a conflict, and it could lead to more division. But this time, kind of what they did 40 years ago with the supreme leader, people are getting behind the crown prince, who is in exile in Washington D.C. The crown prince was a child when his father, the Shah of Iran, left and the revolution happened. He is now the crown prince of Iran, who lives in Washington D.C. and is now finally leading the movement after years of not commenting on the affairs of Iran. He has called for the overthrow of the regime. This is what people want, because people in Iran are now protesting and chanting, saying, we want monarchy back, we want the Shah, we want the crown prince to come back. And this is the difference. So the option that they are providing this movement is to have a regime change and have a referendum on between various options. Either you're going to have the constitutional monarchy or a secular republic, I'm guessing. And this is how they want to fix this. And this is the only sensible way. And it goes back to what I always say, what my mother always used to tell me, how the Persians are the closest to the Anglo-Saxon and the British mentality, culturally speaking. And we're not French. We don't want to cause chaos and have some sort of civil conflict in the country after the regime change. We want to sort it out democratically and in a more civilized manner. So hopefully they'll succeed, but right now we don't know what's happening there. The mainstream media aren't talking about it, and the internet is now shut down, so we don't know exactly what to expect. But we'll keep you guys posted. The same goes to France. The internet is not shut down in France. Communication networks aren't down in France. But where is the BBC? Where is the Sky News? The same applies to Iraq. There's a movement in Iraq. Have you heard about it? Probably not, unless you go on the internet. But we'll see how it goes. We'll keep you guys posted. If you want to make sure that you watch all the videos, you have to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell next to it so you get notified when I release a new video. If you want to stay up to date with all the news that I post, that you could follow me on Instagram and Twitter. You could find the links down here. And as always, I'm Tousi, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video.